Well, hello everybody. Good afternoon. We'll wait for a few moments. We'll start in 3-4 minutes or so. We'll just wait for some time for everyone else to join.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. We will start the webinar very soon. As I can see, there are members are joining in. So we will once everyone is joined, we will start the webinar. Okay, as I can see, members are joining. So I'll let others join as per their convenience. So we are going to start the webinar. So first of all, warm greetings to everyone who have joined the webinar for the power of storytelling in product presentation. As we have already mentioned, and time to time reminding you about the power of storytelling during your presentations for the Akruti competition. So during this competition, you will have the ability to present your project and your products with some confidence and with some technological things. After this webinar, we are soon going to start the initial design concept submissions, which is IDCs. So this is also going to help you in submitting your initial design concept to secure good marks for the competition, step one. Now, I would like to introduce our today's host, Mr. Sumit Pathak. Sumit Pathak is a product designer with a deep interest in automotive design and future mobility, likes exploring how immersive visualization and strong storytelling can bring design ideas to life, making them not just seen but understood, whether it's rethinking how we move or how we communicate ideas. He believes that design is most powerful when it connects emotionally and speaks with clarity. So, I would like to once again welcome Mr. Sumit to this webinar on the power of storytelling in product presentation.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Suraj. Thanks for the good introduction. Welcome all students and maybe some faculty members or team members. It's good to see you all here. And I think the presentation or the concept that I'm about to tell you is going to help you not only in this one particular project, but also for all the upcoming projects that you would be taking up. So, um, without a further ado, I think we should just jump in to the session and I will share my screen.
Definitely.
Yep. So is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So here we go. Mm, Before starting this complete session, I just want you guys to think of one simple things, or it's just like simple three words. If I say, let's say, just do it, which brand comes to your mind? Just do it. Is it something motivational? Is it some yogic brand or a lifestyle brand or an automotive brand, or what is it? Well, I can for surely tell you might have thought Nike. So did I show any picture which mentioned shoes or any certain thing that mentioned or guided you that it was a shoe brand? Was that the case? Well, it wasn't, right? So why did that happen? Why did these three words trigger your brain to think about Nike? Well, that is what the power of storytelling is. So storytelling, it isn't something we add to a product once it's made. It is something which gives your product a meaning, an emotion, and the purpose behind it. So, in the world where we are living in, we are drowning in information and all the facts that are ignored, but the stories, they will help your audience remember what your product is all about. So, today, we are not just going to learn storytelling, we will also explore some of the biggest brands on earth who use storytelling to build their movements and sell their product successfully. Oh, and there are also companies who use storytelling, but they failed despite having some great products because the story didn't click. So I think you would have gotten the gist of how the session is going to be and what storytelling is. So jumping on towards the next slide. So yeah, storytelling. So what is it? Telling a story? No, not at all. So storytelling is the art of making people feel something by using either words, visuals, sounds, or sometimes all of them, just like the movies that we see. So it's also how we share our experiences. It's not just about talking, it's about connecting. So from our grandma's bedtime tales to Marvel movies, it's everywhere. Storytelling is everywhere. And you know what the fun fact behind the storytelling concept is? Is that your brain releases dopamine when you hear a good story. That's why we remember stories better than the facts. So facts, they help you build a good product, and the story behind the product helps it sell. So that's what storytelling is about. Everything. Okay. So you might be having a question like, why do you need the storytelling? Because the facts they inform, but story they make them feel. Because a product is not just a product. So you yourself as a product designer or a product developer or a solution developer, you might have thought about some problem. So exactly that is where the audience or the buyer or the investor, they need to understand that what was the problem, and your product is a solution to someone's problem. It can also be a tool to improve life. It can also be a character in someone's day. Okay, so without any story behind it, is just another gadget. But with the story, it's a gadget that saved the user's time, made them feel cool, and changed the routine. So it's it's an experience altogether behind your product and the story behind the product. So now you might be thinking of the let's say the next question, like, okay, now we understood what storytelling is. We also understood why storytelling is important. But how would I create a story for my product? Well, there is a formula for that. So the formula is WWWHW. So let's break it down. So the first W is who. Who is it for? The second W comes with what the problem is that they are facing. The third one is what if there was a solution that existed. The fourth question is how. How does your product or your solution solve the problem? And fifth, why. Why does it matter? Not only uh, as a concept, but also emotionally. Why does it matter? So to understand more in depth, let's go with a very simple example. Okay, so we all as a college students, we are completely busy. Okay, so sometimes there are chances that we forget to carry our ID cards. Then what happens? We go to the library or the hostel and we get stuck outside because I forgot my ID. How can I prove that I'm the student and I have the access for the hostel or the library? No, you would just have to go run back wherever you have forgotten your ID, find the ID. In case if you have lost the ID, you'd have to pay the fine and get a new ID back, right? So these were the so now let's break it down into a formula. So who is it for? It is for the college students, right? Then the second question is what is the problem that they were facing? If they forgot their ID, they used to get stuck at the hostel or the library entrance. Then they would have to go back, find for it, and if they have lost it, pay the fine and get a new ID card. So we have these two questions that have been answered. Now the third question is what if? What if there was a wristband that worked as your ID card and wallet? Well, would that work? So how would that work? How would that solve the problem? No, we'll just tap it, get the access instantly. No more forgetting or losing your ID cards. Well, okay, so now we have who is it for, what the problem is, what if there was this sort of solution, and how would that solution solve the problem, right? Now we have the fifth main question, why does it matter? Like, why do I need this particular smart band? I cannot, I'll just keep in mind to not forget the ID card, right? But what changes having this smart wristband with you is that it gives you freedom. It gives you ease and the confidence to move around without forgetting or losing your ID card, right? So if this was a product, how would your example uh, pitch to or the product pitch look like? Hey, come on, guys, this is my product, Smart Band. I've named it as Smart Band. For what? It's made for people like me who always keep forgetting their ID cards. Instead of digging through the back or panicking, I'll just rather tap my band. Boom, the access is granted. It's not just a gadget, but it's a peace of mind. Understand? So it was a simple solution for a problem that you faced. But now, with the story behind it, it's not just any other gadget. It's a tool or a gadget that made your student life a bit, I would say, easy, right? So I think we will just hop on to a different presentation to see an example of exactly how a different concepts will be presented. So it's like just like some other students, and we will also dig a bit deeper into understanding how your presentation should look like ideally when you're presenting in front of your juries and everyone. So here it is, right? So I love this device though. I use this particular example every single where I go. I don't know why, but I just love this idea. So it's the product, Smart Energy Saver. Okay. So what is it for? Who is it for? It was for the target homeowners who are looking to reduce the energy consumption. So now the objective is to demonstrate how the energy saver automatically adjusts home settings to save energy while ensuring comfort. Well, wow, that's a very good idea. Now I'll tell you the details of the product. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. Okay. So at this particular moment, you yourself would have lost interest in what I'm trying to tell because there is a lot of text on the screen right now. There is some unrelated image on the right side where a woman is smiling, having a phone and taking picture of something, but you really don't know what's happening behind it and what the product is all about. Even in the first slide of the introduction for this product, you were like, okay, it's just something else. And now, even if you try to read this, you're not going to finish it for until, let's say, 3 to 4 minutes. And once you finish reading all these points in the next 3 to 4 minutes, it would take your brain almost a minute to understand what this image is about. But there goes your 5 to 6 minutes of the total 8 to 10 minutes that you have gotten to present your product. And you haven't started with the analytics, you haven't started with the features of the product and whatnot, but you have just lost your precious 5 minutes. So now I'll jump on to the next slide where all the magic happens. So your 2 slides will be done only in one. There will be a lot of less text and you have an image which exactly tells you what this product is. Why was it developed? What is the story behind it, what it does, and how it helps. So all the 5 questions have been answered in this one simple slide. So what is a product? Is a smart energy saver device. What it does, what's the issue? It's the high electricity bills. The pockets are drained. So something had to be done for a more sustainable living, right? So what if there was a device that helped the homeowner, or let's say me, or in this example, Ravi, use the electricity smartly and also reduce the consumption, which in turn would, decrease the electricity bill. Well, that decrease the consumption and the bill, right? And then your fifth question, boom, your product. Here you go, the smart energy saver device. So all your 5 answers in the right image, it also tells you it switches off lights automatically. It adjusts the AC to optimal levels. It also reduces drain, auto optimizes based on usage. So from being worried about higher bills. Now his electricity is down by 40%. AC is cool, his life is chiller, and now it also says that you deserve a home that's smart and not expensive. And I think this is how storytelling would also help every single person to understand what the product is about. And no matter what your product is, it will always have a story behind it, no matter how techy the product is, or how um, non-techy the product is, or if it's just a random software solution. Every single piece of innovation or every single piece of product will have a story behind it, and that is what you want to tell. And now this one slide would have taken 2 minutes to understand what is going on and what your product is all about. And I think that is what is should be your aim. Use less text, use more visuals, and have a story behind every visual and every sentence that you have written on your presentation. And that will make your presentation much more appealing, much more connecting, and it wouldn't bore the juries as I bored you for the last two slides. Okay. So going back to our good presentation here. Oh, I like the comic style. So let's go and understand some real life examples. The brands who have actually used storytelling to create some great stories. Some of these brands have won, and some of them have failed miserably, right? So let's just dive deep and understand each and every image that you see on this particular slide. So starting from the left, we have the Just Do It campaign by Nike, right? So what was the situation? So it was the late 1980s, I guess, and Nike was mainly a running shoe brand. And at that time, the competitor of Nike was Reebok, sorry, not Reebok, my bad, Reebok. And it was dominating the aerobics and lifestyle segment, right? Where Nike, now being a brand and a competitor to Reebok, they had to come up with something. They had to connect with a broader audience so that their sales would boost. Okay. And they also made sure that it's not just about elite athletes. They wanted a broader audience. So what did they do? They created this Just Do It campaign. And what impact it had? For starters, it was a universal and the emotion was very relatable. So that campaign spoke to everyone. It spoke to every single person out there, which also had a psychological effect, which told them that you don't need permission, you don't need perfection, you just need to begin what you wanted to do, right? In this particular case, the customer was the hero and not the company or not the product. So they mainly focused on the customer who will be using their shoes. They built a movement, and it was, and not just one single marketing message. They built a movement. Just do it. It also became a mantra and a life philosophy. So that huge this particular storytelling impact had. Now you want to know the numbers. In 1988, where I think it was the launch year of Nike, the sales that Nike was doing was somewhere around $800 million. By 1998, after the campaign, they had crossed $9.2 billion. That was a huge jump. And I think this was a very beautifully designed campaign where they focused on the customer and not the product. They made sure that the customer felt that they will be the hero, and Nike was just being a little support or a booster to their confidence. So that was how Nike became a huge company. The other one we all know, it's the Airbnb, right? We had multiple businesses, right? Already they were working from decades into this hospitality department or industry. Yeah, hospitality industry. Airbnb came and it stood as a very strong competitors to all of them who were already established. How? How did they do that? So basically, when the Airbnb was launched, it was something people thought it was something that you own a place and you have an extra room and you had to rent that room to a stranger. So if this was the storyline behind it, it would have been made people very uncomfortable because it would raise concerns about their own safety and privacy of the house owners, right? So you're going to rent a room in your house to a complete stranger, right? But and on top of that, the traditional hotels, they mocked them in the sense the Airbnb for the lack of safety, consistency, or even service. So the public perception when they had launched Airbnb was, is this safe? Is this going to be weird? And is it risky? But what Airbnb came up the next was about their campaign called as Belong Anywhere or Everywhere. I think it's Belong Anywhere. So what that did, it did emotional reframing of the travel. So hotels, they sell you the rooms, but Airbnb, through their storytelling, sold the connection, humanity, and belonging behind it. So their story was, no matter who you are or where you go, you will find a place that feels like home. Boom. They emotionally connected to all the travelers who were missing home or a feeling like a home when they were traveling around everywhere. So that was one big thing. The second was that the customer again became the centerpiece. It wasn't like, look how great the Airbnb is, or how amazing our application is, or how amazing our idea is. It was like, okay, look at this amazing human race. You will meet humans and live with them no matter where you travel, and it will make you feel homely. That was their another thing. The third thing is that they use technology to enable empathy. So Airbnb didn't show off the tech features they had. They showed how the platform enabled trust and openness between strangers. If you go on to book something on the Airbnb, you will be loaded up with reviews. You will see profiles, you will see host videos, everything right there in front of your eyes to understand that, okay, this particular host is this guy or this woman, and or this group, let's say, and I'm going to see the reviews from fellow travelers like you and me, who are just, traveling around to explore things and to know you don't know the area, but now based on those reviews, you would exactly understand how the host is, how the things run, and basically you will have some trust and openness before booking your stay there, right? So that is how they projected their story or their pitch in the market. And what happened? So Airbnb, after this particular campaign that they did, they went from 200,000 listings in 2012 to over 6 million listings globally. Their valuation soared to $113 billion. It disrupted the hotel industry while also creating a new economy for home owners. That is a power of story building. Now we have these two successful brands who use storytelling to their advantage. Now let's move to the next two. Well, Google, they also had a story. But you know what happened? They had a product called Google AR glasses. I think it was launched somewhere back in 2013 or 2012. I don't remember the exact year. I think it was 2012. So, what was that about? How did they do it? Well, it was a phenomenal product. It displayed information in front of your eyes. You had hands-free navigation, voice control, camera, real-time data, whatnot. It had all the things that uh, every person would crave for. Tech wise, it was a marvel. It was an amazing product, but market wise, it flopped. Now, why? Why did that happen? Because the story that they had, it emphasized more on futuristic features. It was the tech for elite people and what it can do, like navigation, recording, notifications. But you know what happened? They never answered one simple question of why. Why should people care? That was missing in their complete story, in their complete campaign. So what else was not what else was missing? I meant, so there was no clear use case story. Was it for students? Was it for businesses? Was it for industries? Was it for cyclists? Was it for doctors? You don't know. The story never made it relevant to a specific problem or lifestyle. Unlike Apple, who showed that the iPhone fits into your life, Google has just said, oh, well, look at me. I'm the future. This is a futuristic thing. I can show anything you want right in front of your eyes through a pair of glasses. Well, focused again on the tech. The second point that went wrong was the privacy concerns that weren't addressed. So the Google glasses, they had a camera, right? And people could use that anytime. You know, people started feeling creepy. The story or the campaign failed to reassure the society that the device wouldn't invade their privacy. That was one of the biggest concerns that people had about their privacy being violated. Another story was there was no emotional story or aspiration. So the product, it lacked some emotional touch. So they didn't tell anything about the freedom that they had, anything about the ease of mobility, anything about the creativity, or even the connection. It just bombarded their audience with the features. And that is how Google AR glasses failed. I think those were taken out of market just after 2 years of their debut, if I'm not wrong. And they are being used, I think, only for some industrial purposes, but not as an iPhone, where I guess every one of you would be using. So that is how a story with missing pieces would just kill your product, even if it is a marvel in tech industry. Now the next, well, I'll just ask you guys a question. Can you understand what this fourth image is or what that logo is? Can anyone type into the chat if it's there? Like, can you tell what that fourth image might be? What that logo is? Okay, can you type in? I think I haven't seen any responses yet. Suraj, can the people chat? Oh yeah, yeah, I could see the answers now. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh
make
yeah. Yep, yep, yep. You people are guessing it right. Well, you know what happened to this brand now? Well, the sales have plummeted. Okay. I'll tell you what the story is. So basically, this fourth image is about Jaguar, and Jaguar came up with the copy nothing tagline. Okay. Why was it launched? It was to show the world that Jaguar is having a bold return into the innovation. So they are going to stand strong against the falling of the crowd, a celebration of originality. So they wanted something very original. And behind this particular tagline, copy nothing, there were really good intentions. They wanted to show that they are coming up with innovation. They wanted to show that they are unique. They wanted to show that they will be an original company for luxury definitions in the future. That was the main goal behind creating the copy nothing. But you know why? What happened? It was too abstract. It was not anchored in the product. So copy nothing, it was very vague. It sounded cool though, but it didn't stand for what Jaguar is. It didn't make a unique statement for Jaguar in its design or feel or performance. So that was a very wrong perception that happened using the copy nothing tagline, you know. So luxury car buyers, what they want to feel is they wanted to be confident, they wanted to be inspired, they wanted to be empowered by the heritage or craftsmanship that Jaguar had in their cars. But the copy nothing accidentally sounded like a rebel, but it was completely hollow. Almost it was like anti everything, but for nothing. Like there were very good intentions behind this copy nothing, but the way the story was told, it wasn't um, connected to what their heritage was. It didn't talk about their heritage, it didn't talk about the craftsmanship, it didn't talk about its uniqueness. So there was a very big missing link of the hero's journey. There was no emotional connect or sense of aspiration into that. So what happened is this particular thing where the intentions were good, the product was innovative, everything was at par. But the way the story was narrated meant, meant or it made them or the audiences of Jaguar feel nothing. So Jaguar was still in the midst of transition. It was coming up with new EV concepts like I-Pace. Those were really damn good design cars. I love the I-Pace design. Then there was competition from Tesla, Mercedes EQ. At this critical point, the story needed to be cohesive and future focused and not cryptic. Instead, the copy nothing story, it felt like an identity statement without any identity. So because of this particular mismatch, globally, Jaguar's market share slipped while other brands leaned into electrification, sustainability, or legacy. Jaguar's campaign didn't establish a clear why you should care. Well, and that's why even having a very innovative concept, um, a very good intention about having a new statement for Jaguar, it never it wasn't successful enough. It instead of putting it into the front seat, it put it into the back seat. So no connection to the heritage, no connection to what the product is, and no emotional connect to what they wanted. It was just an identity without any definition for the identity. So that is how a big brand failed into their storytelling. So these were the real life examples, and I personally choose these four examples was because the first one was of course the Nike. It was your everyday shoes that you wear. It is it has a story behind it. The another one was a tech invention, Airbnb, where they wanted to have some ease into booking your staycations anywhere. So that is how it was. The Google AR, I chose this because it is a marvelous leap into the future, into the tech industry. It was a very good product. I when I was reading about this particular product, I was awestruck. I was like, wow, what an invention. But hmm, it didn't work out that well. And the fourth one is Jaguar because I love automotive design, and Jaguar has always been somewhere in my heart for their beautiful designs, the F type and everything. So these were the four main reasons why I thought to, you know, take this as case studies into understanding of how your storytelling would impact in a positive way or a negative way, right? So moving on to the next one. So small, four simple things to keep in mind. Storytelling is everywhere, okay? It's from Apple AirPods to as simple as a water bottle, okay? Even the water bottle has a story behind it. So, what matters when you are going to present is a relatable situation. So, let's take, for example, the water bottle here, okay? What is a relatable situation? You want cold water to drink in a desert. Okay. So that is a relatable situation. You are in a desert and you want some cold water to drink. Okay. Now the next thing is you will have to make the audience or the jury feel that there is a problem. Wait, why do you want a cold water? Come on. Like, I like cold water to drink. So the real problem is that water heats up in a normal bottle. I'll be carrying a very normal bottle with me with water inside it. But if I try to drink it, it's going to be heated, right? So that was the problem. It's a simple problem. The next thing is be simple and clear. Don't try to be Shakespeare, guys. Okay. We want everyone to understand what your product is, what the problem is, and what are you trying to tell. So be just simple. Okay, guys, I want cold water in the desert, and here is my bottle. Boom. You just show the glowing bottle in front of them and tell them that it's going to keep cool. You have these things, and once you have started your presentation and addressed these 4 to 5 points, then you can go on and talk about the statistics or the analytics that you have done and blah 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 blah. Okay. But when you have 10 minutes to present in front of a jury, I think within the first 2 or 3 minutes, your jury is going to decide if they're going to invest in your product or not. Remember Shark Tank? Even Shark Tank has 10 minutes to present the product, and they decide in those 10 minutes to invest thousands or millions of dollars into the product or the company. So that is where your storytelling comes in, right? So this is how storytelling is. Within the first 2 to 3 minutes, if you have your jury hooked in to your presentation, boom, you are done there. You have won more than half the battle there. So make a good story. And this is it. So before we all go out and write the next just do it or belong anywhere, I will tell you to remember one thing. Your product tells a story. Whether you write it or not, there is a story behind your product. Even if you come and tell me, hey, dude, this was my idea and I thought of it while I was attending a lecture in my class. I don't have a interesting story. But I will tell you is you thought of it during a class. What made you thought that particular thing is where your story lies. So analyze your thought and ask the right questions to your thought, to yourself, and the story will find you. So if you don't craft the story, your customers will, and it might sound like, hey, yo, guys, I bought this thing. I don't know why. It just looks shiny on Instagram. Come on, guys, that's not legendary. You have put in your months, your efforts into designing something, into making it look amazing, and to solve some problem. So your customers should tell exactly why they bought it, right? It should be legendary. It should not be something, okay, I looked at the Instagram and it looks shiny and I just bought it. No, there has to be a sense behind your product. So go out there and be the storyteller, not just a seller. Be a storyteller. Turn your feature list into a feeling. Turn your pitch deck into a plot twist. Because when the story hits the heart, the product hits your cart. Okay. Wow, that's a good line. Okay, guys, I think that was it from my side for this particular thing. Hit me up if you have any questions. Do you have any questions, guys? Yep, type in your questions in the Q&A panel.
If anyone is facing or if anyone want to ask any questions, don't hesitate to drop in the Q&A section on the downside of your window or Zoom window. Our team will definitely answer that questions. So Med is there to answer your questions. Okay. Students don't have any questions for now. We can proceed. Okay, there are one question, Sumed.
Hmm.
Can we make our presentation in a comical way in our competition?
Where I think Suraj, it's about the Akruti team. It's
Yes,
so I think there is uh, some format that you might have given, Suraj. So
yes, yes.
are they bound to follow that one particular design theme, or are there any guidelines if they want to create a new design but still follow the template? So are there any guidelines such for that?
Yes, for that question, can we make a presentation in a comical way in a competition? So, see, for the competition regarding the presentation, definitely we will be going to provide you a template how you are going to present. Meanwhile, you can use your storytelling apart from the template to means along with the template to showcase what your project is exactly and how you can make it more clear and convincible to the juries. Moving forward, next question is when is the initial design submission? So once this webinar is done, very soon you will receive an update email regarding the initial design submission process, when it is going to start and what is the template you have to follow, where you have to submit that initial design submission, what are the things needs to be covered in that initial design submission. So all these things will be shared to you once we are going to announce that initial design submission topic. I hope I have answered these questions. Okay, can you have a previous meeting recorded? Yes, yes. So all the webinars what we are conducting, all webinars are uploaded on the community. You can go and recheck that recordings. Also, you can ask questions on the community if you feel any. Next question we have, so while marketing our product to customers, do logo matters or tagline of the product matters? I guess
That's an
Sumit.
interesting question. That's an interesting question. Well,
Yeah.
more than the logo or any tagline, I think it's the motto behind the product that you have been showcasing. So, as I mentioned uh, about Airbnb, there is no a beautiful logo or something awe-striking or something like that. It's basically the story behind the solution. So I think more than focusing on a tagline or any particular logo, you should have a story. And guess what? If you have a good story, you yourself will come up with a very good tagline and a logo for your product. Well, I'm pretty sure about that.
Okay, I hope Sumit have answered that question. Moving forward, we have another question. The beginning of the story is to talk about the problem and how we will solve it.
Partially yes, but if I go to the slide, this one, emotion, connect, and action. There has to be these three things that has to be followed. And the next one is the formula. Who is it for? What problem are they facing? What if there was a solution? And how your solution is going to help them? And why does that particular solution matter? Remember the college student example that I had given? It is exactly how it has to be. You can change your words, you can change your situation, or uh, any choosing of your words, anyhow, any images, anything is fine, but make sure that it has a flow. It should not come out as a surprise. Okay, wow, oh wow, I didn't understand why that is for. So before throwing up your product in front of the juries, you will have to tell them exactly who is this solution developed for, what was the problem, and what if there was this solution. And then bang on, show your product, and then explain how your product is going to help them. And then later on, while you're closing your presentation, make sure to explain why does this product matter. Understood? I think that's a good answer from my side.
Okay, moving forward, another question that shall we have to attach a story of our design in this competition? So answer to that is yes, you have to prepare a story for your product, and this needs to be submitted in the competition in the later stage, and you will receive the rubric how you are going to attach and where you have to submit all these things. Moving next, another question is what guidelines and tips can you give on the turn of the story depending on the project?
Well, of course, you don't have to hit your juries, so you'll have to have a happy tone. As long as it's not more than the tone, I would say. How do I put this into words? Um, so of course, don't be too aggressive and don't be too fast. Make sure that your tone feels confident and it doesn't feel threatening to any of your juries. It should not even feel very lazy. It should not even come out as the as offensive. Just it should be plain, very simple, and be confident. I think that's it. What you will have to think of while presenting.
Okay, next question is did we have some point in our life sales that we don't need the storytelling?
Uh, to be honest, I did not understand this question. Uh,
Okay, Taufik, can you please elaborate your question so that Sumit can answer it perfectly? Next, how should the story tell for video submissions? I'm not getting that question. Please elaborate your question. Moving next, so I think AI can help us to make those side pictures you showed, that cartoonistic image.
yep, I was waiting for this question. Well, yes, I did take AI's help, but I will focus on one particular important security concern. Okay, so when you are using AI to do something, and let's say you are having a product which you don't want it to be public yet, it's a copyrighted thing, right? You will be having an idea which is going to transform your life. So during those things, I would not suggest you to directly ask AI for answers or guidance. What you can certainly do is you can ask questions regarding the problem or the situation that your solution is helping. Okay, so when you try to understand more into what that situation is with the AI, it will tell you exactly some many number of points and you will able to pinpoint, okay, this is the point that my product helps, okay, this is the point that my products help, and based on those you can create your own storyboard. But when your project is uh, intellectually protected, okay, it is something of your own invention, i would I would suggest you to keep it to yourself and get the help of AI only to understand the situation and not the product. Okay, because when you put something on any of these GPT models, any of these AI models, it is going to be available for the public. So once you put it there, it is available to each and everyone who is looking for that particular situation or for that product. So make sure that your product or your design is not being misused or copied, and to avoid those things I would highly recommend not to directly go on to the AI and ask about the product, ask about the situations, and then you will get the answers on your own while you're going through all those things. Okay,
Okay. Next we have is I find this idea from the presentation more relatable to lifestyle products, but how could this be applicable on the industry focused product?
you can use the same application there as well. So if you have an industry focused product, there will be something behind your thought process of why you have been using this, right? So understand that thought process and you will have your story for your industry focused product and not the lifestyle product. But you can use the same formula to understand how your product will be used and how it will solve the problem. That's it.
Okay, next we have, if a project is a drone for third world countries, should we make campaign for them to learn them about?
But making a campaign is again a storytelling. So it's your product and you are free to do what you want. But just make sure that you don't hurt any sentiments and you connect with the people, with the emotions of the people, and then show that how your drone is going to help them or whatever the solution that they were putting in. So as long as you're connecting the emotions, your your solution with the emotions and having a good storyline behind the explanation of what your product is, I think it will be a hit anyways. Yep.
Okay, next we have, sir, as I'm working on automobile safety part, so how can I directly accomplish the WWWHW factor, like the product is not directly sold in the market? My target cannot be any market. So in such condition, how can I make it impactful overall?
You can study about the Volvo's 3-point seat belt. In this case, 3-point seat belt was not directly sold to any of the customers, but it was an invention by Volvo. But they still had a story behind it, which was the safety of their customers. The people who are going to drive that Volvo will not be killed any road accident was their goal, motto, and the story behind that seatbelt invention. So if there is some safety part that you are thinking about, make sure that there is a story. Just I wouldn't say just like Volvo, but something similar to what Volvo did. Yep.
Okay, next we have, how do we connect if the product has impact on a larger population and not just fulfill a single aspect?
Again, it's all about the story or the product that you have. Since you do, I don't know exactly what your product is, but think of iPhones, like how iPhone was showed, showcased, and presented. It was all about everybody, even Nike. It wasn't just about athletes, it was also about the people, right? Everyone could relate to those particular things or the stories that the brands were telling. So I think it should be somewhere similar in your question as well, Suyash, if you want your product to have an impact on larger population and not just a single aspect. So as I said, facts, they help you create a good product, but story behind it will help you sell them. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, next we have is, does the WWWHW guideline come into play during the introduction of a presentation, or can we base our entire presentation on the WWWHW guideline such that each slide or portion of the presentation covers a specific letter?
Well, if you can do that as well. Okay, so if you want one particular slide to be one particular thing, like targeting your audience, it's good with that as well. But this also brings me to one of the most important tips that I usually follow during my own presentations, is that I don't like to keep a lot of slides. It just makes your presentation long, and it will just bring boredomness to your audiences or the juries. So if there is a necessity of having this one particular thing into multiple slides, it's fine with it. But to be honest, if you do it in a good way, you can achieve that in one single slide. Okay. uh I'll just stop sharing my screen for a second. I'll just find a good example. I think I had it one of my previous year's session. Give me a second to pull that slide up. I will share my screen again. Give me a second.
Okay.
Uh, yep. So this is one slide that I had in my previous year's sessions. Okay. So exactly what you were talking about, uh, the guidelines, by the way, that is not a guideline. It's just something that I came up with to help you guys understand what the concept is about. So basically, you don't need two to three different multiple slides to showcase what your product is about. You can just use one single slide and tell the uh, audience, the juries, or your investors, anyone in one single slide that what, who is this solution developed for, what was the issue, and what the product or the solution might be, and how it is going to help, and what is the end result, and why should it matter. So coming back to my favorite smart energy saver device, if you see from top left to the bottom right, there is a series of images which shows that the user is frustrated looking at the high bill amounts. Then that was the user. Who is it for? And why? What the problem is, the electricity consumption. It's a lot which is getting high bill amounts. Okay. The next question was, what if there was a device which you can configure using a smart display or even a mobile app to save electricity? So what that particular solution will do is it can turn on your appliances automatically on and off based on your timings that you have set, or maybe your presence in the particular room. And then how is it going to help? It will also have your energy saved graphs on smart display and also mobile app. It will give you the updates of how it has been working, how it has been optimizing, and that is what my product is going to do. And the last image is why it matters. It matters because you will be happy after looking at getting low bill amounts. I think this one slide is also pretty enough to make uh, even a child understand what your product is about. It should be that simple. And make sure when you are going to present in your presentations, don't use many text just like the one that I had, right? In the previous PowerPoint show, like this. No, don't 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 do that. This is a very silly mistake. Your jury is not going to even look at the slide. It is just going to take their phone out, scroll Instagram on LinkedIn. Okay, something like that. So make sure that you don't consume a lot of time and just explain what your product is visually and with very less text. I think that's it for that particular question. Yeah.
Okay, moving forward, we have another question. What if my product is any innovation, and in such case, how can I tell a story, like on which basis? Cause I ain't having any literature review.
You don't need literature review, to be honest. As I said in the middle of the presentation, even if you come to me and tell that, hey Sumit, I thought of this college ID issue, right? So I thought of having a smart wristband, uh, which will help me do my authentication at the places which requires authentication to access, such as library or the hostel. Dude, you are thinking of that one solution or that one problem, and thinking of that problem, you will be having your own story behind it. So even if your product is an innovation and you don't have a story, but still, if you think in silence, or if you think of why were you thinking about that particular solution, is where your story lies. So if you can think of that, you will have your story, Tanishk. Yeah, that's it for that question.
Okay, next is like the some point of the fancy name. Lot of people didn't hear any more about storytelling from the brand, but maybe from another customer who have great experience from their product. Is that the sign the brand don't need the storytelling anymore?
Well, your question answered your question, to be honest. So some other customer is going to tell about their experience when they first buy the product, right? And they are buying the product for the experience they have. And if they are going to have a good experience, then to develop that, you yourself will be having a good story behind it, right? So it doesn't matter about the brand or any huge celebrity name. Okay, just like Jaguar is a huge brand and they had a very good following, but still it failed. Even Google AR, it was a tech phenomena, it was an innovation, but it failed because there was no experience in the story. They had really great features. The AR glasses, they had really great features, but it didn't sell because a story behind it was missing. I think I have answered the question in the right way for that one.
Okay. Next, we have how to show the proper story that covers all queries or problems experienced by consumers and also covers all important topics in a short time.
Okay. So you being the product designer or the product developer or anything that you are innovating something, you yourself will not have all the queries or the problems that a consumer is experiencing. Okay, they will be having questions only once you tell them your product. So you have to be ready to any sort of questions that come in, and try to explain. So you should have deeper knowledge towards your product and also how the product was built and why was it built in the first place. So once you have all these things with you, then you will be able to tackle any sort of questions that come to your way. So if you are thinking of having a presentation which will cover each and every query, each and every problem that a consumer is experiencing, it is not going to be the case, because a problem that you might be facing would not be a problem for somebody else. They might be thinking of something else. So unless and until they don't ask you how is going to be solving my issues or my experiences, you will not understand, okay, that was another aspect, right? But you should have a good story behind your product, which they can explain logically, right? Yeah, that's it for this question.
Okay, next is the output of the storytelling will be put in a presentation or report. And should we make a survey for this?
Well, I think Suraj, this is a question for both of us.
Yes. So
Yeah.
what they were asking is means regarding the presentation or report if they want to put. So again, as I mentioned, so where you need to put all these things is going. You will be get clarified once you get the template or regarding the submissions. So you will have a clear idea for this. And the next question is, should we make a survey for what in terms of making a story or
Suraj, I would like to add something.
Mhm.
For the presentation, as Suraj said, you will going to have the template in that, and in the template you will have all the what we can get structured way of presenting all the things what are required. But if you add some supporting document, as you said, surveys and all those things, you can add those. It can add the weightage to your presentation and pitch. So I think yes, you can do that if it is supporting your research.
Thank you so much, Kundlik, for answering this.
Thank you.
Okay, moving next. How can you build a story for a very specialized product that the public might not understand?
So, are you going to build a product for yourself? It should be the question. So, if not, you, anyways, while uh, creating your presentation would come up with questions, and as you will be answering the questions, you'll be getting the answers on your own, right? So there are moments that at this particular moment you will be having your own specialized product, and you know what the use case is. So rather than keeping the understanding to yourself, I think you should um, make let's say, imaginary character or the user who is facing an issue for that product, and your solution is helping him or helping the imaginary user to get the thing sorted or improve their lifestyle. I think that is the best way to create a story behind your specialized product. Let's say, for example, if your product is a is a motorcycle without the clutch, right? So you can have an imaginary user where the person who is having issues with the left hand, okay, some sort of medical issues, but he loves to ride a motorcycle, he loves to go on rides, and having to press that clutch is stopping the user from using that sort of experience, or it's stopping the user to go on motorcycle rides with their friends. And then your product comes in, which has an automatic clutch that whenever you want to switch the gear, the vehicle senses that you are switching the gear, and then it applies the clutch automatically. And there you go, you will be having a story behind your specialized product. There is a fictional character, you name the character, make it a human, and then tell that your human or your character was facing this issue, and your product has helped them overcome that issue. And that is how your story will be for the specialized product. That's it.
Okay, next we have, what should be the story for medical or human wellness? How should we convey that the product helps? Because what we are doing is just a design, not an actual working model. And after designing a model, do we have rights to show our design or have to take permission because it's regarding human wellness?
uh, Again the same tip.
Storytelling.
Yeah, again the same tip that I gave for the previous question. You will have to make a fictional character which is using your medical equipment, or that is. And if you're talking about the rights, I am not sure if we require rights. I think Suraj, can you shed some light on this particular question, specifically about the rights and showcasing their design, because I really don't know about that particular sector.
Yeah, regarding showcasing the design of your product, you can showcase what you have designed, addressing the product for human wellness. While the part of the permission and all, it is all about the next stages of the production and all. So for this competition, for presentation and all, you can showcase the what design you have prepared and all. Okay, I guess I have answered this. Next, we have, in the context of the competition, can we use AI in our presentation to help us tell a more compelling story? Yes, you can use the AI in your presentation, but respecting the template what you will receive.
And also make sure that your product is not being made available to public directly, because if it's an innovation and you put it onto your AI, it is going to be available for the public. So make sure that you understand the fact around your product, the features around your product, but not the actual product that you want to make a story about. So get the context, get the context and then create a story. So I wouldn't recommend for you to tell the AI to create the story, but you can use AI to help you create the story. So there are two different things behind these sentences. So make sure that you keep the security concerns in the time, in the mind while using AI.
Okay, next we have, it's for you, Sumit. What
Mhm.
is the application that you use for make that comic? It looks so cool.
Well, thanks for that. Well, I used Canva. So I went on Canva and I searched for the things. Luckily, I found the template and I was feeling very lazy, so I just downloaded it. Sorry, but yeah, that's the truth. Yeah.
Okay, now I guess we have last question that is for me. Is there a time limit for presenting our design? So yeah, in the presentation, what you are preparing, there is no time limit or something. But when you are pitching your product, yes, there will be a time limit of 10 to 15 minutes to pitch your entire product in front of juries. Okay, next Canva is not allowed for actual presentations, right? Yeah, for actual presentations, Canva or any other third party tools will be not allowed during the final presentations as you are going to use 3D Expense platforms, 3D Story at the time. But for now, you can use PowerPoint presentations or Canva for preparing the initial presentations. Unless we are not providing the 3D story access to all.
Also, you can use, I think you can use the tools you want to create the artistic effects, like Sumit
Yeah.
shown the animation and all those things, like cartoonistic effects. So you can use that, but at last, you would need to respect the template we would give. So yes, as Suraj said, you would have the presentation creating template and also the guidelines when the task is live. But you can use the tools you want to create artistic effects or the things you want to create.
Yeah, you can use them as inspiration towards your presentation layouts or graphic elements. Yeah, that for that purposes only you can use Canva for sure. Cool.
Okay. Is anyone is having any other questions or more questions? Please don't hesitate to drop it in the Q&A section. Okay, I guess there are no more questions, so don't hesitate if you feel do you have any more questions like this to reach out to us on community or on our mail ID that akruti.contests@3ds.com. For Sumit, you have one more question. Can
Hmm.
you summarize everything in points in short, very short?
Uh, okay, sure. Um, if you can see my screen right now, uh, this is the whole basic thing. Like when you're going to tell your product, it should tell who is it for and what the problem is, and what if there was a solution, and how your solution will be helping the user, and why is your solution good enough to invest in. So these are the 5 points to summarize my presentation. Yeah, yeah, I think
Okay,
that's
thank
it
you
for the
so much,
question. Yeah.
Sumit. Yeah, thank you so much, Sumit, for this very insightful presentation and explaining each and every detail about the power of storytelling to students. I hope all and major queries of the students are clear now. Still, if you face any query or if you feel that if you want to connect and ask about this question, so don't hesitate to drop your queries on the community or mail us on 3 akruti.contest@3ds.com. We will surely help you out. So I guess we
Also,
can close
I
this
think
webinar.
there are some question
Yes.
about repeating, but I think Rohit, you will receive the recording of this. webinar in the community. You can replay it whenever you want and as per your convenience. So please stay tuned in the community. You will soon receive the recording of this webinar there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Sumit. Thank you so much, Kundlik, for helping me out in the answers.
Thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Sumit. Thank you,
well,
Suraj.
thank you guys. All the best. Waiting to see your beautiful stories on the stage. Yep.
Good day, everyone. Bye.
Good day. Bye bye.
Good day. Bye bye.